General Pervez Musharraf, then Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan during the Kargil War, played a key role in the planning and execution of the conflict. His primary military objective: alter the status quo along the LOC in Jammu and Kashmir by occupying strategic heights on the Indian side. By doing so, Pakistan aimed to control key positions that overlooked the crucial Srinagar-Leh highway, thereby severing the connection between the Kashmir Valley and Ladakh. By occupying these heights, Pakistan intended to create a new line that could be used as a bargaining chip in future negotiations with India, effectively changing the LOC in its favor. As Pakistan's military was executing the Kargil operation, the Pakistani government, led by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, continued to engage in diplomatic dialogues with India, giving the impression that Pakistan was committed to the peace process initiated by the Lahore Declaration. This dual approach allowed Pakistan to maintain the facade of pursuing peace while creating a military fait accompli on the ground. The Indian leadership was led to believe that the peace process was intact, even as the situation in Kargil was deteriorating. Once the extent of the Kargil intrusion became clear, the Indian government felt deeply betrayed, not only by the Pakistani military but also by the civilian leadership that had been engaged in peace talks. The sense of betrayal was exacerbated when it became evident that the peace talks were being used as a cover for military aggression. May 15, 1999 Bajrang Post is located in the Batalik sector of the Kargil region. The Batalik sector was one of the key areas of conflict during the Kargil War in 1999. The Bajrang Post, situated at a high altitude, strategically important position that was occupied by Pakistani forces during the early stages of the war. On the dawn of May 15, 1999, Captain Saurabh Kalia and his team of 5 soldiers, Sepoy Arjun Ram, Sepoy Bhanwar Lal Bagaria, Sepoy Bikaram, Sepoy Mula Ram, and Sepoy Naresh Singh, were sent on a patrol mission in the Batalik sector of the Kargil region. This patrol was part of routine reconnaissance to monitor the Bajrang Post, a key position near the line of control, LOC, in the Kargil sector, where unusual activities had been reported. Mission the patrol was tasked with surveying the area around Bajrang Post to gather intelligence. Given the high altitude, rugged terrain, and unpredictable weather, it was a challenging mission that required utmost vigilance. As Captain Kalia and his team moved through the treacherous terrain, they were unaware that Pakistani forces had already infiltrated the area and established positions along the ridgelines and strategic heights. The patrol cautiously advanced, maintaining radio silence to avoid detection. As they neared Bajrang Post, Captain Kalia's patrol was suddenly ambushed by a group of heavily armed Pakistani soldiers. The ambush was meticulously planned, catching the patrol team off guard. Surrounded and outnumbered, Captain Kalia and his men were forced into a firefight. Despite fighting bravely, the team was overwhelmed by the superior numbers of the enemy. Ammunition exhausted Captain Kalia, and his men were captured after a fierce exchange of gunfire. The Pakistani soldiers, who were well entrenched, took advantage of the element of surprise and the difficult terrain to capture the Indian soldiers alive. What followed was a harrowing period of captivity. Captain Kalia and his men were taken to a Pakistani military post where they were subjected to extreme torture. Over the course of the next 22 days, they were brutally tortured by the Pakistani forces. The torture included cigarette burns on various parts of their bodies, piercing of eardrums with hot rods, removal of eyes before death, chopping off limbs and private organs, multiple gunshot wounds in their bodies after being brutally tortured. The mutilated bodies were eventually handed over to the Indian Army by the Pakistani authorities on June 9, 1999. When the bodies of Captain Kalia and his men were returned, they bore horrific signs of torture. The post-mortem reports confirmed the inhumane treatment they had suffered, which shocked the Indian Army and the nation as a whole. The evidence of their inhumane treatment, revealed later, shook the world and highlighted the brutal nature of the conflict. One of the primary psychological motivations for torture of the conflict is the desire to inflict terror and intimidation, not just on the individuals being tortured, but also on the broader military forces and civilian population of the enemy nation. The torture of Captain Saurabh Kalia and his men during the Kargil War reflects the darker aspects of human psychology in the context of armed conflict. Motivated by a combination of psychological warfare, revenge, dehumanization, and the pressures of group dynamics, the perpetrators engaged in acts of extreme cruelty. These actions are a tragic reminder of how war can strip individuals of their humanity, leading to unspeakable atrocities that leave a lasting impact on both the victims and the perpetrators. Their sacrifice, coupled with the brutal treatment they endured, has left an indelible mark on the collective memory of the nation, symbolizing the high cost of defending the nation's sovereignty.